Welcome back to HGC Europe. We're in the middle of the playoffs. We have officially started, and we are looking to fill 1 seed for the mid-season brawl in Sweden, man. It's going to be super awesome to see. Again, I have Kalidor and Cawthon, right? I'm trying to get it. I've been Cawthon, and we had to get it fixed off of the broadcast here. Cawthon. We have a replay. We want you to walk us through it here and show us some sick analysis here. So let's go ahead and check it out.
All right, well, let's see what we're doing here, because I'm not sure which fight this is. Oh, okay, this is the timing issue they had. So what we're looking for here is we're looking for the Anub to be further up when they start this engage, because the cocoon timing is what throws everything off to begin with. We really needed to wait on the engage from the Tyrael, and the Anub needed to be further up, and just the fact that they went in without everything aligned like that, there was no way it was going to work. We'd already seen that the mouth had been able to completely and instantly cleanse away any value the Judgment would get on the previous engage. And so going for this was just, yeah.
For our viewers at home, how much of a timing issue is this? Is this 1 second, 2 seconds? And what do you do after you realize that, okay, this engage has been botched?
I think as soon as the cleanse came out on the Judgment, at that point, their best interest would have been just to call the thing off, back off, and try it again. The cocoon timing is vital for I mean, when you build a comp like this, it is just trying to blow somebody up at the start of the fight. If you don't get those ults off at the right time, you may as well just pull back before your entire team gets wiped going through with it.
Also, I think looking at that replay, even if that wasn't cleansed, it looked like it would have been very difficult for them to get the fight. It felt forced.
And that all comes back to the positioning when they went in the first place. They just didn't have people in the right area. Like, Anub needed to be deeper in there for that engage to work in the first place in so many ways.
Yeah. All right, well, game number 2 coming at you. Let's figure out which battleground we'll be doing battle on here for the playoffs. It's going to be Tricked Esport picking the battleground, as we'll be going to BOE. Playing Ducks will be walking away here with the first pick. And you were talking about it a little bit earlier here. Arthas seems to be a major pickup for Tricked Esports. What's a plan when you find a team that excels so well with a certain hero? What do you do in the drafting phase? Do you just shut them down? Do you ban it out? Or do you tend to take it away?
Well, it's not that Tricked has been overwhelmingly effective with Arthas. It's just so clearly a comfort pick for them that they haven't tried to hide, and they so clearly do not want their opponents to have it. At some point in time, I feel like somebody's just going to grab it early just to throw off Trick's gameplay and see how they react.
It just feels really difficult on a map as Towers of Doom, because if you ban out Arthur, so if you pick him early, you give up an Anuburak, a Genji, you cannot ban out a global or take one. So on Battlefield, I could see that a lot more than on the last map even.
Yeah, it's definitely a gamble. It's more, do you want to mess up the opponent's strategy, or do you want to take everything that's completely 100% optimal? And
there we go.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. Well, there it is.
But as we said, for Battlefield, it makes a lot more sense.
Since
the globals don't have the same priority, so you don't find yourself in this awkward spot where you want to ban one of their comfort heroes, but at the same time, if you do that, you allow them to take another strong hero that you would normally ban out because of the current meta.
Drafting is so fun.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like, seriously, I don't think a lot of people understand how much it benefits you to know the strengths of certain heroes on certain battlegrounds and how much you can control the battleground just by learning such things. But Arthas being banned out here, Greymane has been banned out, which leaves Playing Ducks here on the left side to possibly grab Vala. This is the first time that we've had Vala be available, I believe, in the last 3 or 4 times that we've been on BOE. So the Ducks, a team that does play Vala, could pick him up.
Now, I think Vala is overall a good pick. I don't believe that in this scenario she's first pick worthy, and I think Anuburak is much better. The highest priority in European first picks is at this point definitely on this map Anuburak. We have a lot of first picks also on heroes, as for example Greymane, who's banned out here, but Anuburak is just overall a fantastic hero because he's so flexible in what he allows you to do. You can play him as a solo tank, you can play him as a double tank, he counters an opponent's mage, and he's in general just super strong on the zoning. He's a fantastic hero for that.
I'm a bit shocked on Trick moving straight into Sony here. I see Ariel, but I know Sony's been going up more and more here on BOE, but first pick worthy in the second phase? What do you think about that, Cawthon?
I like the way that Playing Ducks set this up, where they played into the tank deny on Arthas by taking Anuburak with their first pick also, really focusing on getting that strong tank. Sonya is something that I've never seen picked this high in NA, and I'm curious if Sonya is getting a lot of her value from the Whirlwind on the Cocoon, being the idea is picking it so early.
Now, one of the things that I feel Sonya is strong against the Immortal back in the day, a year back. She was played a lot on this map, and I think one of the thought processes here is we don't want to go into Vala now, not yet, but we want something that at least gives us some pressure against the Immortal. Sonya is okay for that. She's not the best, but she's okay. Yeah. And they played the last time a strategy where they were focusing a lot more on trying to just push lanes. Yeah. Sometimes even as 5 by completely ignoring the Immortal on the other side. So I think that helps them a bit because it's a bit atypical for them to also prioritize Oreo to that extent.
Yeah, it really gives Trick Esports their type of style of play here to be really amplified with that Sonya play. You dominate your top lane, Sonya just destroys in pretty much all matchups, and then as you mentioned, when the Immortal phase does get won by Trick Esports, they just push the other side and put so much pressure in that Sonya in a 5-man lineup makes it very difficult. Do we kill the Immortal or do we kill them?
You also talked about Vala, and while I said Vala was not really first pick material, we have her now on the next pick, and that makes a lot more sense, because now you have Varian and Nubarak, that's a lot of stuns and lockdowns that you have here. And then Vala can just simply use that space that is created by the other two and chunk away with the arrow build.
Yeah, it gives that Hungering Arrow build an easy setup if you go in for the engage.
That's actually a question to you. How much of a role does Vala currently play in North America? I watched a few of the games and it always felt to me as if NA doesn't really value her a whole lot.
No, you don't see her very much on this map compared to how much you used to. I like her in this situation when they were able to secure the Anubarak early. The thing is, Anub opens up the option to play Li Ming and Vala to poke at that Immortal effectively. If the Anub's on the other team, those heroes are so dangerous because they can be hard engaged on by the Anub when poking, or he can just body block their damage. And so I really like the way they set up this draft to get that hard PvE race with Vala.
What do you personally think, what's the reason that Vala is not played a lot with an arrow build on this map? Since for Europe, it has... I think the priority has been reduced a little bit, but overall she's still one of the main tools to chunk an Immortal down. Why do you guys not value that highly?
I think it really just comes down to the fact that the arrow build takes a little bit to get going. Much like you used to see the Lunara with her level 7 poison talent as high damage on this map for the Immortal. It's just the fact that she doesn't really get those double arrows and doesn't get them stacked up to level 7 plus. It's really late in the game when it comes to this map. The game can be over 5-6 minutes into the game, so it's more of an investment into later in the game when you pick one of those heroes.
Gotcha. So these double tanks that are being played here in Europe allow for that mid-game to actually happen here. So that's actually really interesting stuff there. Okay, so Gul'dan and Malfurion picked up on the other side. Counter-engage, Horrify being picked up.
Double support.
Double support.
We have something else that allows them to sustain themselves through a fight, help the Sonya at the front. They still need, of course, a tank with it, but at this point, Trick saying we want to have a long and sustainable fight for this game. Whereas on the other side now, Battlefield being picked up, Sport Billy on Battlefield, Falsa being picked up, Sport Billy most likely on the hero, and once again, a decent setup for the Ducks. Also a lot of pressure against the Immortal.
Wow, so this lineup on the other side here, Gul'dan, Malfurion, or also WO support here, going to have constant poke available from the Gul'dan, and Sonya for those engages when they actually want to force the fights with Johanna follow up with that Condemn and of course Blessed Shield. A little bit more control on the right side here, more tempo sustained base for the composition, but on the left, playing Ducks really looking to race here.
They have a good race comp, especially as the game progresses, but they don't have to race. They do have the global with the Falstad, and so actually the impetus is going to have to be on Trick to force engagements later so they don't fall too far behind on levels.
How hard is that into a Falstad? It's pretty difficult, right?
Later in the game, yes. Early, I think they really need to get in there quick before Falstad is able to split soak those levels, get Vala those levels she needs for the PvE race. I think they have to force their early advantage.
Awesome. Look to see if Playing Ducks will be able to force that upon Trick Esports. Trick Esports has been a team that's been pretty decisive on their calls the last couple weeks, but if you can get them to falter, they fall pretty hard.
I really like the composition that the Ducks have, because they have a lot of tools that can also pressure Sonya. Sonya is going to benefit a lot having those two supports behind her. The problem is still stuns. And we have not only Variant with Taunt, we also have an Anubarak. We have the potential of Cocoon in there. So I really like what the Playing Ducks have. I did not like their communication in the last game. They seemed quite off. If they fix that, I think they take this game.
Awesome. What about you, Ben? Who do you think takes the game?
I think if they make it to level 7 without being woefully behind, I think the Ducks will take this game. They have the global. They have amazing race with Vala, and the Anubarak is fantastic on this map. It's just a matter of can they survive early engagements from a team fight-oriented comp like Tricked has.
Well, let's find out. Game number 2 coming your way. Tricked Esports up 1-0 over the Playing Ducks, but the Ducks hoping to change that up and tie the series.
The Ducks in trouble so far in the series after they lost our first map here at the HGC, and at this point they're starting on Battlefield once again to the left with Wolfjo on Rhaegar, Nanda on Varian this time. We have Chris on Vala with an arrow build, Chrisplosion once more on Anubarak, and Sportbilly last but not least on Falstad.
Tricked Esport on the right side in the red, Nappin will be showing off his Ariel. Alex Saprochi will be on the Johanna. Watch out for his flanks. Crosby on gold. Dan Eternal will be playing Sonya once again, and Rimmer Baller will end the lineup here on Malfurion.
Now I'm really interested to see how exactly Trick plays this. They had a great first game. Now they have to show that they can make that too. Because at this point, the Ducks have once more a really nice setup for themselves. Question is there a communication and their coordination really where it has to be to win the map?
That is always a question, and we will see the answer soon. Looking in the top right, Malfurion's actually setting up around Sonya here. Maybe looking for some hard engage on that Varian. If you can get Varian down to half health or a quarter health in a lane, he has a very difficult time coming back for the fight. So looking like a slight play there for Tricked Esports to knock back their Varian.
Especially in the early game, Varian is quite weak. So you really start to pick up some of your sustain after level 4. It's one of the most important talents for you with the parry build. And then of course we're all waiting for the level 10 where Taunt just makes him into such a beast. And this is one of the tools they have to really use to just lock Trick down.
We'll see if that'll work out for him here. Watching the Ducks here in the bottom left. They're just hoping to clear out and survive. Well, Crosby is just being king as he clears out that wave very efficiently.
Also the builds. Again on Oriel we have Righteous Assault taken on level 1, and that becomes more of a dominant talent lately when we're looking at Europe. What you usually see on level 1 is Swift Sweep, but now it's a lot more about the cooldown reduction, especially in these double support compositions with Oriel that we've seen. We have seen a lot of Righteous Assault just trying to get that CDR so that you can use that in the fights. Talking about fights already, pressure coming from the Ducks down to the bot lane.
And Nabe will easily walk by that, getting dodged on the Anubarak dive, and even brings out Attainment Strike, hitting Close Explosion into the side. Now, the Immortal phase has begun. Tricked Esports is set up for a potential pickup on Wolf Joe. He sniffs it out just in time there and will survive, while everyone else is setting up for defense.
Defense for the Ducks already here, but Falstad still finding himself at the bottom of the map, trying to gain a bit more experience and clear the waves to pressure the fort.
Interesting strategy here. So Sonya and Malfurion continue to stay in top, and they're doing their own soaking, while Gul'dan heads to the bottom to deal with Falstad. Now, this should open up an opportunity for the Ducks to rotate up and start chunking on that Immortal, but they always have to watch out for the concave that can come in from Tricked Esports.
Keep in mind, this is Tricked Map's choice. They're going in once again. Here comes Sportbilly with Chrisplosion. They're going for the Immortal, but from every single angle, we're seeing Trick moving in.
But the Ducks have done a solid amount of damage to the Immortal. It's been chunked down about a quarter of its health, moving down to about a half pretty soon here. They need to work on getting 4 though. Tricked Esports, with their rotation, were able to get 4 before them. The Ducks finally do hit it as Falstad runs to the bottom.
Yeah, so once again, they're trying to apply some pressure. Sonya still up at the top. A lot of sustain for Tricked, especially since they also spec still into the Laws of Hope for Johanna. So double support, plus Johanna with a self-sustain.
Lots of sustain available here for Tricked. They can dance around these Immortals as long as they need to. But the question is, do they have the time to dance? With Falstad constantly soaking in the offlane, coming in when he needs to, it is pretty difficult. However, Eternal in the top left is in a fight here. Does he have his Aegis Spear?
Yeah, Chris in this situation wanted to flank him and put him into trouble. All of a sudden he sees 2 behind him and he's like, bad idea, let's get out of here.
The flanker has been flanked by Tricked. They lock him down. Nande, he's getting caught out though. He's gonna be able to parry for a couple seconds here. Can he survive? The answer is no. And Tricked Esport will get the first kill of the game.
So far, this is looking good for Tricked. Once again, they get the first kill. They are working on the Immortal, but they lost already 50% HP on their own.
That is scary, man. The halftime show is very close for the Ducks, and they can get it pretty soon here if they can get their Vala to move in and drop the Hungering Arrow. Tricked Esports moving in to get their own damage on the Immortal phase, but they shouldn't be able to grab too much here with Johanna and Vala moving in on the top right.
Wow.
Wow, Chrisplosion falls to Trick. Big mistake.
Detainment strike into Roots, and then the damage drops him, and that was a bad moment to die.
That is a very unfortunate moment. You are correct here. Sonya can rotate in and start working on the other Immortal, and she'll start doing so. While Crosby and the Malfurion will set up camp on defense for the Immortal.
Yeah, once again, everyone just posturing. Sonya applying the pressure. Trick is on point here as Eternal drops the hit point slowly but steadily. Crisplosion is back though.
Crisplosion has shown up. Will he go in for the engage here? He is starting to move in on the Immortal and burn it down. It's falling down to a quarter health, but Crosby is working in some damage here on that back line. Chris, though, being nice and healthy on that Vola, continues to drop in the Hungering Arrows.
Everybody stacked here, top lane, still pushing, and Sonya has not moved away from the Immortal, but so far the Ducks are still ahead in the Immortal pressure.
Falsa just takes a full wave of corruption from Crosby, and that opens up an engage. Johanna dives in. Nande and Crisplosion have fallen below half health here. The Immortal so close in the race, but finally the Ducks move in to finish it off. It drops down to 600 health, 400 health, and they get the last auto attack, but they may lose members. Crisplosion taken out, and so is Nande.
Yeah, there we go. Fell Flame hits him, he is dead. Yes, the Immortal goes over to the Ducks, but they paid a heavy price for their first objective.
Yeah, 2 of your warriors been taken out. And look at Trick Esport. Look at the top here. They have 4 kills, and they have a massive lead in experience. 7 3/4 to almost 7 here for the playing Ducks. They can just retreat to the top right and just take out this Immortal without losing too much.
The Immortal is not going to do a thing. It's an early Immortal, doesn't have a lot of pressure yet. And both of the teams by now are on level 7. The extra talent where we finally see the repeating arrow for Vala. Not only does that heavily increase the pressure towards the next Immortal, but it also helps with the stacking process so much.
That it does. And Trick did this strategy last week, and it was very effective. The first Immortal, didn't worry too much about it. Soaked where they could, got the experience advantage, and right here is where they turned it up. They just race down to level 10 as quickly as they can. They grab all the mercenary camps, they grab both waves of experience, and they try to hit the 9.5 level around the Immortal phase. They soak to level 10, and then they go aggressive, and they start the counter pushing by unlocking the Immortal before their opponents. And here you see them doing it now, pushing in the bottom to grab these towers for that experience.
They have 5 manning bottom. They have 5 members at the bot lane. They don't care about top. They're just pressuring. They have the camp, and they start moving in, going for the towers, dropping the first and dropping the wall after the second falls as well.
And dropped it does. It falls here. Sport Billy harasses where he can. Alex Aproji continues to charge, but Sonya on her way to top lane, and here's that 9.5 I was talking about. Now hit here. 4 Trick Esports, while the playing Ducks are barely hitting 8.5. And the 4-man continues to stay in the bottom and starts chunking on a fort.
They want to go for the well. If they get the well alone there, Sonya is back up to the top. There's 2 now. They're trying to trade. They're going to lose this fort. Even if they trade, they are going to be behind. The level 10 is such a crucial talent, and Trick is going to hit it with the next Immortal about to be announced.
I do like the adjustment from the Ducks, though. They realized that Sonya was going top to get towards that 10 faster, so they said, okay, you know what? We'll put 2 top. If we can get a kill on Sonya and get a fort, we'll be able to get experience. Luckily, Eternal caught that and did rotate to the bottom. 10 here now, 4 Trick, while 9 just barely hits for the Ducks.
This is not looking good for the Ducks. They didn't get the fort at the top lane. They're an entire 1.5 levels behind, and Trick just invades their camp. They're saying, guys, they can't do anything to us. If we move in now, how are they going to fight us? They cannot. So let's just go in, take their camp away, and let's leave Sonya once again on Immortal duty.
It gets better for the Ducks when they do hit that level 10. Varian, of course, getting the engage, the taunt that you need. But meanwhile, Sonya continues to work on the Immortal phase, so Trick Esports will be 10 over their opponents and have a full health Immortal pushing into a lane if the Ducks can't do something soon.
This is very, very strong play from Trick Esports for sure. They're looking very solid with this. Once again, they're starting to focus. Alex to the left, zoning for the rest of the team. Sees Nanda, lets him pass. He wants Vala, he wants Rega, trying to interrupt them. And can move in from behind. Chris is immediately in trouble, vaults away, misses the arrow.
but the Immortal falls here as Alex Aproji. Oh, hang on, the Immortal still here with a little bit of health as we are going to have a fight. Age has been popped on a Thermal. Here's the Horrify.
Horrify comes in, Ancestral for a variant and keeps him alive.
Crisplosion on the back right, taking damage here, getting poked by Crosby.
Crisplosion with a quick move back after the stun, but still tricked on the move forward.
There we go, the Immortal has been picked up. The Ducks are making a move. Sport Billy flies in.
Flies in behind, could gasp, but gets silenced. The kill still good though. Down goes Gul'dan.
He gets it. He moves in for the Ancient Spear. He gets poison off.
Sport Billy already down. It's a 4 versus 4 as playing Ducks are on the move back.
Nande gets pulled in by the Condemn. He's going to use parry to survive. Can he get away?
Nande looks a little bit lost here. Gets body blocked by Alex.
Alex Aproji continues the blocking here. Slows him down. Nande, it's okay. My life is probably done here. Is escaping to the right side. But while this goose chase is happening, look in the top lane, Caldor. Immortal is beating on a fort.
Immortal is already on the move. They still want Nande. At this point, you have to ask yourself if it's really worth it.
I don't think it is. Crosby shows up for the last second damage, the last second taunt just to survive a little bit longer. Okay, so finally, we're going to have Nande fall on the variant. The Immortal actually gets defended pretty well by the Ducks. So I answer your question. The answer is no.
Well, they lost the fort, and now they get value at the top and the bot lane. So I think they over-chased a bit. I can see why. I still think they get massive value out of this. Keep in mind, this is the second Immortal of the game. We're not talking about 20 minutes here.
In my mind, though, I see that Immortal on the top, and there's a possibility for at least keep damage. And keep damage, in my mind, is monumental.
I would agree with this. If they let Variant slide there and just say, okay, whatever, you go, and move down to the bot lane faster, at the latest when they see heroes up at the top starting to defend, then they can probably get a bit more damage out of it.
Oh, hang on here. Ducks get moved in on as Nande moves in and gets a big taunt on Ariel, and she falls.
Yeah, nice Ancestor and the stun again as they're going for Sonya.
Now Thurnal trying to spin here, hoping to live and save himself. He does. He gets away.
Gets away for now, but it's still a kill for the Ducks, and that was only the second one for them in this game. But as we said, they have the tools, and now that Vala is starting to pick up some momentum, has also her Arrow quest on level 4 completed, we see them with more pressure towards the Immortal. The biggest problem is experience.
Yeah, Kapan mentioned that when level 7 does finish up, that mid to late game gets better for Vala. So with that being finished here, and of course that level 7 allowing for the double Hungering Arrows, we should be seeing more damage on 1, opponents, and 2, the Immortal.
Alex really zoning hard here the entire time, trying to body block and set something up, and Crisplosion is very low. Sport Billy with a gust. Sonya very much isolated. Can they punish?
No Aegis for 1 second. Aegis comes out at the last second to save Thurnal. He does survive. Johanna moves in.
And double kill as Trick drops 2 Immortal in 5 seconds. This is the ideal situation for Trick. They had level 13 in the fight. The Ducks with an attempt to drop Sonya. That doesn't work out. Double kill against the Ducks as Trick just picks up both. And this is horrible.
Yes, they're going for a twofer here. They're taking the opponent's mercenary camps here on the left, and we have Sonya working on the Immortal, burning it down to half health. Check the replay.
Look at this. Sonya is isolated. They try to go for her. Then we just barely have Oriel with the save and the heals right after that. But in the meantime, the stun from Alex with a Blessed Shield on the false that Gul'dan finishes him off. Good zoning. Varian falls, and that is now another Immortal that seems to go the direction of Trick.
Yeah, it's all coming down to coordination for me, and Trick Esports seems to be a bit more coordinated to playing Ducks, and it's allowing them to run miles ahead of their opponent.
Also, bot lane pressure, the camp has been taken, so while the Ducks are desperately attempting to defend, they also are pressured by the bot lane, pushing in harder and harder towards their keep, and keep in mind, that wall is gone.
Ducks are going in. They're going to get a fight here. They go straight for a Thurnal. They do use the taunt. We're going to have Alex Aproji turn around and start engaging on Chris.
There, once again, we have Quick. Nice, good Ancestral after the Horrify.
And Nape helping out in the bottom left as a Thurnal is attempting to escape.
Crisplosion once again in trouble. Gets at him and that falls that flying in.
Sport Billy gets a hammering. Doesn't connect with anyone here. Crosby working on Nande.
Nande once again, the last man standing there for his team, trying to escape here with the rest.
Alex Aproji is just owning space here as he charges into the Ducks.
Johanna doing her thing, stun evaded as once again Crisplosion goes in just to be the tame and strike immediately.
No kills overall for Trick, but they get the pressure you were talking about.
Value.
Keep falls
Value.
to a Merc camp. Value town, son.
Yeah, definitely. So the keep is down, and guess what? The Immortal still taken by Trick. This couldn't be any better. This is the dream. They are living the dream right now.
They are running this battleground, and they are putting on a clinic right now. 15-13, full immortal. Only a smidgen of health not available for those shields, so we'll have those towers definitely falling, and they want to get another keep here.
Things are just not going the Ducks' way. They have so much trouble in these teamfights to coordinate everything. But this could be keep again, as you just said. They're starting to push in, posturing around up to the top with Alex just looking for an opportunity.
Sport Billy is on the side. He's snaking around, hoping to get engaged. They also have Nande on the back left. The playing Ducks understand and know they have to go for an engage.
Cocoon being used, Forset going into the back. They're trying to go for Crosby. Oriel with a quick Auric ability is trying to save him. Ghoul down, Ace down, but it's Tainment Strike into the corner, dropping Nubarak once again as we have Falstad completely isolated. He also dies, and Trick Esports is still ahead and pushing with the Immortal.
They are massively ahead here. That was a 2-for-1 trade, 16-14 as they hit the talent engagement, and they also have an Immortal here that is still almost full health. They are trudging towards the keep.
It's 14 seconds until we have the next hero back. It's a 4 versus 3 with an Immortal. That is core damage already. Knappe saving himself here for a bit longer. They can't kill him, and they still work on the core.
They want Nappe, but they can't get that Angel as she continues to float away. The core falls down to 15%, 7%, down to 0, and Tricked Esports is going to grab a 2-0 lead in this best-of-5 series.
Really solid play here by them. I mean, that was incredibly well done, and I just have to say that the Ducks look completely off compared to what they showed in the last few weeks.
Kathan, what do you think?
That was amazing. What a statement from Alex the Pro-G. They targeted him clearly in the draft, took away his Arthas, took the first pick a noob. He ended up on a Johanna, and the Ducks picked a comp where they desperately wanted to slow the game down. They wanted to get to 7, get that power spike for Vala, for Falstad. Even Varian is weak early. And even with a hero like Joe, Alex was able to force the engagements and not let them reach there without a disadvantage.
What do you mean, even with a hero like Joe? Are you insulting my
Are you hating on Johanna over here?
Joe,
she's one of my girls.
Not notoriously aggressive pre-10, but Alex was able to make it work.
You haven't seen my Johanna yet.
Keldor, it's going to be okay.
Usually
you don't have to
them.
defend yourself. It's okay. It's okay.
We'll see you next year in the HGC.
Johanna one trick.
Well, so far, Trick Esports is up 2-0 over their opponents, and we're going to be getting ready for a game number 3 here at the HGC. We'll be right back. This is the HGC. Stand and know they have to go for an engage.
Cocoon being used, Forset going into the back. They're trying to go for Crosby. Oriel with a quick Auric ability is trying to save him. Ghoul down, Ace down, but it's Tainment Strike into the corner, dropping Nubarak once again as we have Falstad completely isolated. He also dies, and Trick Esports is still ahead and pushing with the Immortal.
They are massively ahead here. That was a 2-for-1 trade, 16.
When I was young, I lived a life of recklessness. In my selfishness, I inflicted pain and hurt those I cared for. I have learned many lessons in my struggles with doubt and fear. Balance and harmony are not easily attained. They must be fought for! But on my journey, I have learned another lesson. You do not have to fight alone.
Let's do this!
Ha! Ha!
Woohoo!
Yup! Sombra, it's on you now.
I'm all over it.
See the full animated short at playoverwatch.com.
We're getting ready for Game 3 here at HGC Europe as we're in the middle of the playoffs, and so far the Playing Ducks are down 0-2 against Strict Esport as Strict